Hey guys, Joey here. I thought we would talk a little bit about, RV travel and what are some of the must-have items that everybody should have on the road when they're traveling their RV or travel trailer. I'll show up time and time again to an RV and, I usually have what I need, but sometimes, like I'll ask the customer, like, do you have spares for when you go on your trip in case you were to have a problem with this or that? And 9 times out of 10, nobody has it. Nobody. So let's talk about some of those things that we should keep in our RV. Everybody should keep fuses. So, and I'm talking 12-volt fuses. So you definitely want to look at what type of 12-volt fuses your motorhome has, or travel trailer, or camper for that matter. And you want to have a good variety of different amperage of the ones you already currently have. Now when you replace a fuse, don't ever increase the amount of amps just because you have it. Like if it's 7.5 amps, it's 7.5 amps for a reason. That doesn't mean you should put a 10 amp fuse in its place. One example would be like an entry step. That's usually 7.5 amp fuse. You definitely don't want to replace that with a 10 amp fuse. So the reason why it blows the fuse sometimes is because it has a direct short. Now if the wire is not the proper gauge and can't support 10 amps of power going through it, so once it starts spiking, like the 10 amp fuse isn't going to blow. So like what happens is the wire gets hot and then it melts. We don't want that. So fuses, guys, we should always keep spare fuses. Another thing that we should have in our motorhomes, in travel trailers and everything else, is plumbing. We want to have some plumbing repair parts. A lot of people don't even know where to buy it. I'll post some links below in this video so you guys know where you can pick some up. And you just kind of look what you have, and odds are nowadays you have flare-up fittings. They can be expensive depending on where you buy from. I'll post links to where I think is some of the best pricing for everybody. You always want to have something to cap off a line. The nice thing about flare-up fittings is they actually are pretty easy to put on. I mean, once you cut the line, you push it on, and then you thread it. I mean, I actually have other videos on my YouTube channel if you want to watch how to do it. But, a lot of people don't have those, and if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have any water, especially if it's cold outside or even hot, I mean, water's kind of a big deal in an RV, especially in the toilet, running the sink, taking a shower, I mean, everything. So you want to see what kind of flare-up fittings you have, or whether or not you might have the crimp style. I also have a video on those too. But you'll be able to look at the if you click the link below, you can look at the ones that I see, the most common ones I see, and then you'll know, yeah, those are mine. Now you should have a 90-degree elbow. You should probably have at least 2 to 4 of those. So then you should have a T-fitting. You should have something to cap it off. You want to have the straight ones to create a union. And a little bit of pipe just in case you need to replace a small section. But worst case, you can always cap it off, and you might not lose all your water then. Like you might only lose water to one faucet or this or that, vice versa. But I'll post some links below for that stuff for you guys. I'll also post some links for some bus fuses below too. They're called Bussmann fuses. But a lot of people, they just really lack having spare parts. Something that you should have in your RV but not necessarily put on yourself would be a brass fitting to cap off any propane lines in case you ever have an RV technician that's mobile and he comes to your place and he's not well prepared and does not have that fitting, and he says, well, I'll be back to put this part on, so don't worry about, like, this will be fine, I'll leave the propane off. You don't know if somebody else in your family or anybody is going to come in there, turn the propane on and try to run something. I mean, it is very dangerous to leave it uncapped, regardless of what they say or do. So just like, if you're changing the oil in your RV, you put a thing on the steering wheel that says do not start, oil change in progress. But, so you can get those fittings at like Park Rose Hardware and a couple other companies. You go to an RV place and ask them, say, hey, do you have any caps for propane lines? And they'll say, do you need flared? And you say, odds are you do. But a lot of people they really lack on some of those things. And fuses in an RV, like I said, that can save your day every day. But we should definitely have a health kit, like an emergency kit. Sorry, but you never know what you're going to run into on the road. You could roll up on an injury accident yourself, and you might be able to save somebody's life by having like a whole bunch of gauze and something to wrap it with. But just get yourself a nice kit, because when you're in an RV, you really don't know how far away you're going to be from a hospital. So, you should have butterfly bandages in there. You should have splints, braces. You should have something that you could tie off on somebody's arm or leg, for example, if you needed to slow down the flow of blood, if it was a bad enough cut. You can buy really big emergency medical kits that, they could save your life, they could save somebody else's life. I have some customers, believe it or not, they cruise around, they're doctors, they have machines that could save somebody's life if their heart was to stop. So those are really expensive, but being that they were doctors, for some reason, some of them roll up on situations like that, and they're able to save somebody's life because they had a machine that they could shock them with, and they were properly trained. I'm not saying go buy that, but something else we should have on an RV is a spare tire, people. Like, I can't tell you how much money it costs to have a tire brought out and put on your motorhome. Everybody says, well, what about a spare tire carrier? Like, where am I supposed to put it? Roadmaster makes a really cool spare tire carrier that you can mount to your hitch and still have your tow bar slide into that. So, it's very cool. It's, I think it's like $595, maybe a little cheaper. I'm not sure. We can check it out online. I'll post a link for that. You always want to make sure you have that. Some other things you should always have oil for your motor, transmission, brake fluid. Want to make sure you have that. Windshield washer fluid, because you never know when you're going to drive through a storm of grasshoppers or whatever flying across the highway or bees. I've seen it all. I've gone out there and traveled in motorhomes just the same as everybody that watches my videos, so I know what's out there and how fast that window can get just trashed. So washer fluid, make sure it's on your list. You should always have at least a gallon of antifreeze in your RV in case you need it, or more, depending on the size of your motorhome. You never know when you're going to be driving through the desert. Big thing. You want to check those fluids before you leave, especially if you're going to drive through somewhere that's really hot. You don't want to get broke down on the side of the road and not have any fluids for yourself or the motorhome. Motorhome's thirsty, you get thirsty. So it's just a couple of things that I think people really need to have. You should just have an emergency preparedness kit, really. So, and if you kind of just look at the things that can and will go wrong on an RV, those are all things. So you should have something to check your tire pressure, like a tire pressure gauge as well. So you always want to check your tire pressure before you leave on your trip. And then if you were driving for 8 hours, check your tire pressure, because if it's really hot, that tire pressure is increasing, and there is a maximum PSI before that tire could actually blow. And if it's hot enough, I've heard stories of it happening. So don't overheat your tires. Give the motorhome a break. Just like you, they like to have a break too. So I know it's a machine, but give it a break. So most people will just stop, go to the bathroom, jump back in their motor, and cruise right back across the country. Give it a break, let it cool down a little bit. It'll be good for the motorhome in the long run. But anyways, I hope this video helps somebody out there. I haven't really done a video like this, and I did this 100% unscripted, and I'm not going to edit it, so I hope that people don't get upset with me that it's not perfect. I was just kind of throwing stuff off the top of my head. I will write down a scripted list, and I'll go over that for the next video, and we'll see if people like that a little bit better than this video. But I'll post the links below, and Hey guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate all the subscribers so far. I think last time I checked, we're at 73 subscribers. That means 73 people are interested to hear what I have to say. So some of you are my customers, some of you aren't, or some of you are going to be in the future. If you ever do need RV repair and you're in the Southwest Washington area or Greater Portland metro area, look me up, Cannons RV. I'll get the job done. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.